evening, everyone. Welcome to another broadcast of the GardenStateHSWrestling.com podcast. Near fall, back point, whatever you like to call it, the clue, who knows? I apologize for not doing a podcast last week. I had a personal family issue that I had to take care of, but we're back, and let me tell you some exciting news this week. We were going to talk to PJ Cassale a little later on, but it's fitting that we had him on this week because they announced the other day that on April 10th, in the Bergen Catholic facility named after their athletic director, on April 10th, outside, the very first match outside during the season. Now, there's been other stuff outside, but during the season, an official NJSAA match, it will be the Delbarton Green Wave traveling to face the Bergen Catholic Crusaders on Jack McGovern Field, who was the athletic director, longtime athletic director, who passed away from pancreatic cancer earlier this year. Big ups to Bergen Catholic for renaming their field for that man. Things he did for that team, amazing. For not only the team, but the entire school. This is going to be huge when I tell you that this could be a way we can actually have some sort of wrestling, because it'll be outdoors on the field. We'll be able to have fans in the stands. We'll be able to actually enjoy wrestling. Now, there will be some streaming. There will be other stuff along that lines. But this is what could actually be the first one to have fans in the stands. And if it's going to be anything like the last time these two teams met, for you who don't know, Delbarton beat them in the non-public A North semifinals in front of a raucous crowd at Delbarton High School in Morristown. 45-12. It was their Bergen Catholic's first in-state NJSAA loss since 2011, when they lost to South Plainfield December 18th. So it ended a huge streak. It wound up propelling Delbarton to the state title. And if it's anything like that, we're in for a treat. Let me tell you. We have to talk about our sponsor this week, because it's only fitting that we have him on this show with an interview with a Delbarton wrestler coming up. But champion athletes, Dan Warnock, Pat Glory, two-time state champion, has said, and you can see it on the other podcast, that if he didn't take his career seriously and work with nutrition specialists, he wouldn't be where he is. Dan will help you. When I was in high school, I was fat, and I didn't have this, and I had it up here. So not this, here, hair, here, bald. Get the visual? Anyway, when we had to lose weight, which I didn't, I was heavyweight and I was fat, didn't matter. When the younger weights had to wrestle, they put plastic bags on, they ran in the auxiliary gym. Not healthy. This is healthy. He will help you lose weight safely, and you won't feel hungry. If you listen to the program and the way he designs it for you, you will get better, you will feel better, and you'll have that energy you need. Dan Warnock, champion athletes, thank you so much. He's a proponent of this site. He has been since the beginning, and he's one of the reasons we're here and one of the reasons we're doing this. Now, speaking about champion athletes, and we said Delbarton, let's start to my interview with PJ Cassale. Joining me this week is a man wrestling fans, I'm sure, got a nice dose of last year at States, the reigning 220 champion. Somebody who's actually a little proficient in some other sports, which we'll get into, but PJ Cassale from Delbarton. PJ, thanks for taking some time to talk to me tonight.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Talk a little bit about that. Talk about that run last year, because I know Delbarton had such a magical year individually and team-wise, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, but just how that team felt and kind of bringing everything together for that magical year.
Yeah, so from the start of the year, we kind of all knew what we wanted in mind, number one in the state. And then individually, I had some great people in my corner, great partners. We worked every day, worked hard every single practice. That's everyone in the room. It was kind of like you could look around the room and it wasn't just you and your partner going hard. Everyone in the room was training hard. So everyone kind of knows like what states really means to our program, especially individual states. So that's exactly what the season was about.
And now I know you guys have the calendar in the corner. I remember always seeing that in States when I come in, it would count down to win. And your coach always said that it was individual success would lead to team success, which last year came true in a big way. I mean, That's a semifinal match against Bergen Catholic. Just talk about that. Their first loss since 2011. The gym was hopping. I mean, your student section was going crazy. And just that feeling to kind of be the culmination of that run.
Yeah, it was great to get a lot of people out to the match. We talked about it a lot, but our coach Guy Russo, he said, this is just another step till, individual states, and this isn't the biggest thing you're gonna be facing this year. Of course, we knew what our team was like last year and the talent and the work that we put in. So we came confident. Bergen Catholic brought, great wrestlers. A lot of wrestlers on our team stepped up, had some great big wins. It's a home match, so it's got to take advantage of that, and we sure did. We had probably 200, 300 kids. There was a lot of kids, and it was exciting, and you could hear it roaring. Right before you walk out, you don't really hear a lot of noise, but we were warming up in the other gym, and we heard them already. We had alumni come in and talk about, the moment and, the last time they won a state title and how long ago it was, and, just to really just seize the moment.
You guys had always been, even going back before your time, I remember covering Delbarton since 2007. They were always right there, but it was always tough because it was always like, oh, you're going to do well, but Bergen Catholic. And, it was always kind of like Bergen Catholic was that team. And, for you guys to come out there, and I still have it, I see it come up periodically on my Twitter. I filmed you guys coming out and how loud that gym was. And it was ridiculous that night. And that was just a huge win. And you wound up bumping up to heavyweight for that match. I mean, that was what was that? You and Luke bumped up a little bit, and that kind of set the tone heading into the lower weights with you guys.
Yeah, we had. I think we have some depth, kind of bigger. I think we had Kieran Calvetti. He stepped up to 182. Then Nick Olivieri wrestles 195. Chaconis goes 220. I go 285 just because of we had an injury at heavyweight, but it ended up working out well since Bergen Catholic had 220s, so it was kind of just like wrestling a 220 match at heavyweight. Yeah,
so there's not too many, realistically, a lot of the true heavyweights, as you call them, those guys who are floating around the 285. It's usually a lot of heavyweights now where those 240s, 230s.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're dealing with you're not facing a fat guy like me out there. You're facing a guy, you're facing decent people. So you guys win, and then all of a sudden the world shuts down.
Yeah.
And kind of changes how everything goes. And I know you're a big football player. Congratulations again on all conference. I saw the tweet. Your mom loves to share them. I see.
Thank you.
How is it, especially this summer? Because I know you get in your routine for football. You're not even sure if it's going to happen. I know you do some wrestling. What was your training routine, not really knowing what was going to happen this year?
So off-season wrestling, I usually try to get to wrestling like 2-3 times a week, and more of focusing on like lifting and then transitioning into football. So I was wrestling with Diego Crespo, who's like kind of my coach now. We just rolled around a couple times a week, getting some college guys in the room just to train with them. But then football season hit, so it was like football was 5-6 times days a week, and then wrestling at night. We had football in the morning, but it was different because the first 2 weeks of practice, only our linebackers were doing drills in the corner, and our quarterbacks were separate, and our running backs and everything was separate, just because of the whatever was the plan. So we did that. It was tough, I didn't really know the offense even because we split up into offense and defense this year. We had enough guys to do that for football. So that was definitely very different.
That's it. I'm assuming it was for contact. They didn't want to get anybody in case somebody got something to affect the whole team. It was a very strange football year.
Yeah, very. Yes.
Now, speaking of strange, we should be talking about you guys and your upcoming Beast of the East, if this was last year.
Yeah, of course.
And here it is. We're not wrestling. We're not going to start till March. Is it strange, kind of from a wrestling point of view? Because you're going to be the hunted at either two. I'm assuming you're going to go 220 most likely this year.
Yeah. Yes.
So you're going to be the hunted with the 220. It seems to be strange. You come out of football, and usually you're in that shape. It's only a little bit of a transition, different wrestling. Now you kind of got this break. And it's just going to change everything with football. How does it feel right now? Because knowing around Thanksgiving and Christmas, you're usually in that wrestling mode, not to be in that wrestling mode.
Yeah, it's definitely different. It's like I'm not waking up early to go practice on Christmas Eve or something. But it's I think our team still knows, like, at least for me, I'm not gonna be training like an in season right now. I'm kinda, still gonna lift a lot, roll around 3, 4 times a week. I'm not gonna be in there 6 times a week. I know some guys in our team are starting the season early and trying to get matches, and there's a lot of matches, like, trying to go on. It's just hard to get matches. Right now, I'm probably just
Mhm.
gonna, like, stay safe, stay healthy, only train, a couple times a week. So
Yeah, I've seen a couple of your teammates like Nico and Trzynski getting matches with Takedown Sports. I think has something in
yeah,
January, and I know they're out there. Speaking of your teammates, I know you guys this year heading in. You lost a really good group of seniors. I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was Calvetti. You lost Clark, Oliveri. Was the Oliveri back?
Oliver's back.
Okay, I know there was a good group of the upper weights, and I know there's others I'm sure I'm missing. Now you're in that leadership role, and I've talked, I've seen you kind of coming in as a youngster. Now you're in that leadership role. What have you taken from some of those guys? Because we've had Pat Galori on, and he kind of said, "This is how I was taught. I passed it to Clark." What do you take? Because you're a different style of leader than some of the other ones. How do you lead?
Well, definitely the leaders. We had a lot of seniors last year, and a lot of different thought on the wrestling season, and uh, some great leaders, especially my partner last year, Luke Chaconis. He led the team really well, and then you see like guy like Anthony Clark, who you idolize in the room, and it's cool to watch him wrestle, and you really try and paint yourself like him, almost as a wrestler. Dante Stefanelli stepped up really big. He was pretty much the voice of the team, told us a lot. And then Kieran Calvetti too, like they were all good. They all had different ways. I think this year we have some good seniors too. So to step up. For my leadership role, just trying to introduce the freshmen. I know like when I came into the team freshman year, I was a little nervous meeting guys, but like just wrestle hard, wrestling, especially when you're coming in as a freshman, it's really different, especially when I came at 220. It wasn't like it's a big jump from when I was in 8th grade to high school. So just the transition and really, just putting yourself out there and wrestling hard always and having a good time.
Now, as someone who's won a state title, if what is, and I'm trying to think of the proper way to ask this, if you've already won a state title and they wind up not having individual state championships here because they've already said they might not, that'll switch, that could switch as of now.
Yeah.
What's your motivation? Like what, you know what I mean? Like what would be your guys' motivation? Because you guys are such a top tier team and you've had people, like I said, Nico was a medalist. Trzynski finished, win the state final. I was the only one to pick him to make the finals, by the way. I just want to point that out to all the other press. You gave me props for that. But you guys make it. It's almost like, okay, well, you can wrestle the local people, but no offense to anybody local. What does that motivate you being a top level performer? How do you get motivated for a season if there's no championships?
So I think our team was kind of like really impressed as to what we did last year, just because Matt Scouts came out with a high school team ranking, and we're preseason 4 in the country, which is really kind of like insane if you think about it. It's just like a group of like Morris County kids just wrestling and wrestling hard and tough. But I think not only is it just individual this year, but just to look out for everyone. Like if it's just those matches local, let's do the best we can and just get the most out of this wrestling season. But if it's not the best quality matches, you look nationally almost. I know there's a lot of national tournaments going on, and they're trying to get those going. So hopefully everything kind of starts to clear up. Our guys start to go around, because if we would be in last year we were in California pretty much at this time. I mean, I think
You
next
guys were there for like New Year's, right?
yeah, we were there
You had
for
the beast.
the end of
You had the beast, and then you went out.
So it's like you're not going to get stuff like that this year in season, but there's a lot of stuff like almost out of season or individually you could look forward to, definitely nationally. And
speaking of in-season new things, kind of, you guys are going to be history. I don't know if you heard about you guys wrestling BC outside at
Yeah,
their
definitely.
school. Talk about that, because this, obviously you wrestle stuff. You've wrestled tournaments outside, but to be the actual first official in-season match, and against a team that's loaded for bear, it's not a homecoming game. It's going to
Yeah.
be a battle. Just kind of being there and being a part of that match.
Yeah, I think that was a great idea to, you can't fit all these people inside, so take it outside. It's in April, so the weather gets a little bit warmer.
You don't got to worry about the snow, pushing some snow like we would be Thursday if it was going on. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think it's going to be a great match, obviously, two of the top teams in the state and possibly like country. You talk about it like that. We're all excited. Our group chat was going crazy when it happened. We didn't know. We had to see it on Twitter to, but
yeah, I think that came out of surprise for a lot of people. We're like, oh,
yeah,
that's a great idea. And then it was like, I was kind of like, Stone, hit me up, tell me what's going on.
yeah.
And,
No, I think everyone was kind of like, wow, this is happening. This is good. A lot of people, because you hear even non-wrestlers are like, yo, we need that Bergen match again. We want to watch it, and maybe now they can go outside. I think it was a great idea.
That seemed to be they seem to be the perfect rival, because it was almost like, if you look at it in baseball terms, you guys were the Red Sox, they were the Yankees for the long time. You guys finally got over the hump. I'm a Yankees fan, so don't take that against me.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you guys now are in that position. Because like I said before, you guys were always you were good, but there was always a little something more. And, like I said, for that to happen, now you guys are in that seat, and going and being a part of that match with them it's only fitting. I can't think of any other team, any other matchup that I'd like to see in there. And hopefully, it's a part of a good season. We'll have all this stuff done and, going from there. But listen, Thank you for taking some time. I know you're busy young man with everything going on with school, football, doing all that stuff. I see the postings your mom's always sharing. So thank you for taking some time, and tell them I said hello. And, next year when we're talking about your state championship, maybe we'll do a little dance. I know you're a good dancer.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you. Have a good night, PJ.
All right, you too.
Thank you, PJ, for taking the time. I know you have a busy schedule. Tell you what, if we have a state tournament this year, I'm betting my money on him, because I think he's going to take another title if he gets a shot. We talked a little bit about the Bergen Catholic Delbarton match. It's going to be outside. The first one outdoors during the NJSIA season. It's not going to be the last, because we recently found out that Morris Knowles is going to be traveling to Morris Hills on the same night, and they're actually going to be wrestling outdoors as well. I want to say big props to Morris Knowles on something they did recently. They're dedicating their wrestling room to Luke Homeyer, who was a wrestler about a decade ago. He was a third at the NCT in 2011, fifth in 2010. Luke was a really good kid from anybody you talked to. Got a chance to talk to him a few times. Didn't get to know him as well as other wrestlers, but when you see the tributes on Facebook, is everything. He was the police trainee who actually died during training on December 1st as a part of the 161st class down in Seagirt for the state police. Luke wanted to be a state policeman like his uncle and his father. Luke was also from what you read, was just a great kid who was always helped out with the Junior Eagles program, was a Boy Scout who achieved Eagle Scout with Troop 165, lifelong member, and just a great thing that the team's doing to kind of let everybody remember. Too many times, once a kid graduates and something happens, there's not really that much notice put in the fact that they're renaming the room for him. Big ups to everybody at Morris Knowles, and Godspeed to Luke and his family. My condolences, and hopefully with the squad they have this year, it's going to be a great year to honor Luke and his memory. Well, it's all for this time. We'll be back next week, I promise. For the podcasting man behind the mic, Jared, I'm Donald J. Brower. We'll see you next time.